Hey, here Michael Vsauce. Are scary games actually scary? Scary. What is scary? Is this scary? Or how about this? So, to answer these questions, I think it is important to look at what a scary game is trying to do. That being to invoke fear in its customers. Fear, as we all know, is the body's response to scary things. We all know the feeling. Palms sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, possibly vomit on his sweater already. So now let's put ourselves in the position of the person making a scary game. How do we know when to scare the customer? How do we know how to scare the customer? How do we know if we scared the customer in the first place? The objectively correct answer to these questions are we don't know. We just kind of have to shoot our best shot into the void and hope it scares the 12-year-old behind the screen well enough that it goes viral. Even though we don't know objectively if we scared the person, there's still some people that have made some pretty scary games. Like the Death Stranding guy who made PT. I played this game back in high school and it scared me so bad that it put the fear of God into my heart as well as all the way down to my great-grandchildren. This game is also why I have a particular disdain with recursion. And then we have games like Alien Isolation. Alien Isolation had kind of a dynamic approach to scaring the customer. It would do things like adapt to the way the player has been scaring off the alien and making sure it doesn't work like the 10th time around. The game will also realize when the players had a little much too downtime and promptly send down the alien to ruin his day. There are more recent games like the Resident Evil game that had some really tense and scary moments. Although, while the game was very scary, there were some times where it wasn't as much scaring me as it was pumping blood into my... So this brings us back to our original question. Is it possible to objectively scare our player? To that I say, behold, the Scarometer, a completely mediocre, stupid, and over-engineered solution to a problem that no one's having. And you may be wondering what it does, but let's just discover that on the fly. Okay, hopefully it doesn't crash this time. I hope I fixed the bug. Is it frozen? What? Fuck. Alright, so I'm just going to use this as an example. This game as an example of the functionality. So first things first, the hardware on this project is pretty dead simple. It's just a Arduino and a heart rate sensor that Christopher Walken told me to buy. And if you think that was just a weird joke, I'm not joking.
I'm Christopher Walken. The pulse sensor is a plug-and-play optical heart rate monitor for Arduino. It's an easy way to get a user's heartbeat into your project.
Anyway, so after I got the hardware, I just wrote a small script that relays all the information about my pulse over serial to my computer, and that's pretty much all the code running on the Arduino side. So the actual app is pretty much a recreation of the serial monitor for the Arduino software in C#. I did that because I know C# and I can make it look nicer, because spent a lot of time making this app look nice, because here's what it started out looking like. Okay, now for an explanation of the actual functionality. So as you can see in the figure on the screen right now, it's just a simple state machine. Well, kind of a state machine, where it takes my average heart rate over the span of about 15 seconds. It then sees if my average heart rate has risen above one standard deviation of the previous average heart rate. If it has, then it will trigger the scared state, in which it will shake the cursor like it is right now. So to enter the calm state, basically, it has to read that my heart rate has not risen or dropped one standard deviation below the average for a certain amount of time. And when that happens, it detects that you're vibing. You're too well off. So it will then trigger a jump scare, which will look something like this. Just for, oh my god. I disabled that for the purposes of me actually being able to use the app and explain it without interruption, but there it is when it happens. So I started to think to myself, is a jump scare really the best way to scare somebody? And I had a slightly better idea, I think. I took every image off of my phone, put it into a folder, and now when the app triggers, it just displays a random photo out of that folder. And for those of you who may be thinking, well, you shouldn't be scared if you have nothing to hide. What are you, a narc? Anyway, so let's just try and get through this without doxing myself or anybody else. Get the demo done, because I was trying to release this video in August, and it is now almost October, so let's go. Hey, so there were some recording issues, so I'm going to just talk over the footage. So, all in all, I don't think that this was the best idea to do it the way that I did. Just straight monitoring my heart rate using some cheap heart rate sensor. While it may sound like a good idea, and then you actually make it and you realize, hey, this heart rate sensor is crap and reads wrong values. It's also hard to use while I'm gaming. So 100%, if I ever revisit this project, I'm just going to monitor my facial expressions to determine whether I'm scared or not. It would have been easier to implement, it would have been more elegant, and it wouldn't have required you to buy extra hardware because chances are you have a camera. So, in fact, I'm probably going to revisit this project to do it that way. Other than that, yeah. The reason it took me so long is because college kind of pillaged all of my free time, but I got it done. I have a bunch of projects in my back pocket that I can release in a reasonable amount of time. As of recording, I have over 100 subs, so let's consider this my 100 sub special, and as thanks, I will keep making videos. Anyway, I think this wraps it all up. So the takeaways from this video are: don't do a project just because Christopher Walken tells you to buy a heart rate sensor. Don't over-engineer stuff for your projects. It just isn't worth it, because then you get a spaghetti mess state machine that doesn't work as well as it should. As far as actual useful things to come out of this project, I mean, it is a Arduino serial live plotter in C#. So if that sounds like something you're looking for, just check the GitHub below. So other than that, yeah, I think that just about wraps it up. Hope you guys got something from this project, and see you next time. Okay, I think that's all I needed to say. So let's just stop recording. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Oh, that, nope, yep, that's the.